Hello peeps. So firstly, if you're new to the channel, I'd appreciate if you subscribe if you don't mind. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, which has taken a million years, but I'm sure we'll get there. Big thank you to everybody else, everybody who has subscribed just recently. And another quick thing I'd like to mention is I'm running a competition on my channel. And if you watch the Nintendo Wii video, which I'll leave a link to in the description, I'm giving away a 4 terabyte hard drive, which is going to be a custom drive. You can have Retrobat bats there. You can sort of tell me what you want going on it. And at the minute, there's only been 4 people who've entered the competition. So basically, you've got to watch the video, find some secret word or a secret word that I put in there. There's only one, so you haven't got to what, you know, it's not going to be all over the place. Send me an email and you're in me a chance of winning it. And being as there's only 4 people entered, you're in me a pretty good chance of winning it. And it's a brand new drive. It'll be a Toshiba Canvio 4 terabyte drive, which I'll be building custom to whoever wins the competition. So get on that, you might win. So this video was going to be like a GameCube tutorial. What I was going to do, what was my first intentions was, I was going to be showing off this graphics card, the RX550. I was going to run a load of different systems to show how it runs, show what it's capable of. If you can get the right price, a really good card. I mean, the prices of graphics cards will just go up and down every time you look at them. I paid about 90 quid for this, and I had it shipped from America, and it's a really decent card for emulation. But I'm going to do another video of that. So when I went to play and record the GameCube, I noticed I was getting certain slowdown on certain the cores in there, you know, your Vulcan, your DirectX, your DirectX 12 and stuff. So I thought I'd have a quick look and a quick tutorial to show you what to do with the different cores and show you my results and what I think is the best core to use. So firstly, you're obviously going to want to come into your ROMs and put your GameCube files in here. Now, if you've noticed, all my files are this RVZ type file. Now, if you've got ISO file, these are a compact zip, well, not zipped, but compressed file down. So if you want to do that yourself, if you come into your emulators, come into Dolphin, the EMU one, I suppose it doesn't pretty matter on that, load it up. Now you make sure all your games, it's pointing at the right place for your games. Now if I wanted to compress, if these was all ISO files, if I wanted to compress, say, them top ones, you can click as many as you want and leave it going. I literally did all mine in one go and left it going overnight. I woke up day after and it was done. Right click, convert selected files. If you've got your ISO file, you can change it to the RVZ file. It tells you here, look, advanced compressed format, which is compatible with Dolphin 5.0 and later. It can effectively compress both junk data and encrypted Wii data. I believe, I'm not 100% because I'm not an expert at it, but I believe that's the best one to use. That's what all mine are. And it'll give you a little bit more space. So if you've got a full ISO collection, do them all in one go. Like I say, you can leave it overnight, leave it at that, click convert, and it will just convert them all, stick them into a folder where you want them to, wherever you want them to put them, like. Excuse me. And now we shall, I believe that's all I wanted to show you. And while we're in here, obviously, this is where you can come in and configure your game controllers for your Wii and your GameCube. Set it up however. Mine's an Xbox joystick, so it's set up for an Xbox joystick. You can set it up to whatever you want. If you don't like it, if you want to change A and B button, your X and Y button, you can just click on it and press whatever button you want it to be. You can save make your own profile and save it. It's pretty straightforward stuff in there. And then pretty much what else we need to do, we can do inside Retrobat. So we'll shut this down and load Retrobat up. So we'll have a quick look at the menu file. So if you come into your actual GameCube collection, press your back button, go down to Advanced System Options. You choose the emulator. I leave it on the Dolphin, which is a standalone emulator. Decorations is basically your borders, what you want on. If you want the GameCube border, you can put this on here, the default unglaze, so it's like the GameCube console either side of the screen. Now, when it comes to GameCube, I personally like to put it on 16:9. My internal resolution, that's obviously depending on what system you're using, how powerful your computer is. 1080p is fine on this. Virtual sync I don't bother with because you don't tend to get screen tear on it. I've not noticed any. Video, no idea why that's on that. But I believe display emulator frame before the ways. Right, so I believe that's like, I don't know whether it's like the widescreen X now, but I'm assuming it is because they've gone from like Embattisera, that's widescreen hack, so I'm assuming it's doing the same thing. But I prefer them because they're fairly decent graphics on a GameCube. They look totally fine at 16:9. Now your visual rendering, with all this anti-static filtering, anti-aliasing, and whatever else you want to do these custom textures, I never bother with them. You get people who say, no, you know, somebody hasn't set a drive up if they don't mess about with these and put them on. It's each to their own. When it comes to GameCube, I mean, for what you're going to get at, it's hardly going to look any different. You might get a little tiny bit of difference, but I know what it's going to do is put more pressure on your CPU, your GPU. It's going to make it fair enough if you've got an RTX like a bloody 4090 or whatever and a really high decent CPU, but for me it's just, I find it pointless putting these on. I don't bother with them at all. It's personal preference if you want to put them on, if your PC is really powerful. This is my main PC and it's only got a GTX 1080 Ti in it. It's I can't afford a better one at the minute, but so like I say, that's personal preference. Emulation. One game test the powerful option for gaining performance has no downside. Some of the time may cause various random issues caused by splitting the CPU and GPU. But I don't bother with that. I heard that. I'm not 100%. I must try do some testing on that. But I heard it tends to not really make a massive difference at all. Stuff like this. To be fair, with GameCube, I don't really bother doing anything in here. I just leave it as it is. It runs totally fine. It looks good. It's not worth messing about with. Use interface. Obviously, your show FPS is going to tell you how fast your game's running. Drivers, that's the one that we're looking at today mainly. Like I say, I was doing this video to test the graphics card out and show you what the capability of the graphics card are. Now, when I went to play the first game, it was on the Vulcan core, and I realised it was stuttering, and I thought, for what I've seen running on this card, it was set at 1920 with 1080, I thought there's no way that it should be stuttering and splurting the way it was. So I went and tried different cores and seen what I got. So now I'm going to show you what my results, what I found, and what I believe is the best core. And then obviously controls, if you want to change your A and B button, just click that. Yeah, obviously yes and no. Well, that's pretty much it for the options. And then I'll show you some gameplay now of a few different games, what I think are the most demanding games on the console. A lot of people say F-Zero's the most demanding game, and if it runs F-Zero, it's going to run anything, but I beg to differ. Beyond Good and Evil is one, and Gun is another one. If you get them two running, I think I think they're both more demanding than F-Zero. So they're the two that if you get F-Zero, Gun, and Beyond Good and Evil running all at 60 frames per second, no drops, there's not going to be any game in the GameCube that won't run at 60 frames per second. They're all going to run at 60 frames per second. So with that, I shall show you the results. Firstly then, it's Mario Kart, playing on the Vulcan core. And basically it's a good solid performance. There's no dips, it's pretty much ran at full speed, pretty much the whole play. So it's fully playable on Vulcan. And next up is the Open GL core. And then we had, you get the odd dip on this, but not really noticeable while you're playing. Again, it was totally fine. You'd fully play that all day long at that, with that core on. And then we're going on to the DirectX 11 core, and then this one runs absolutely perfect, no dips at all, absolutely faultless. Best one out of the lot. It's really playable, perfect gameplay on it. 1920 with 1080p. And next up, this is Prince of Persia Standard Times, and this is a PAL version of the game, whatever, so it's running at 30 frames a second. That's the maximum that it'll run at. Again, this is the Vulcan core. It doesn't dip below 29 frames per second, basically. It's fully playable, really runs well on Vulcan. And next up again, this is Open GL. Totally playable again, there's no dips, perfect sound gameplay, can't fault it at all. And again, lastly, the DirectX 11 core. Again, this is faultless. It's probably the best one, but only just, the other two run totally fine on this, so not much of a great deal of difference between them. But DirectX 11 is looking the one, to be fair. Now then, move on to Beyond Good and Evil, Vulcan core. And as you can see, this is really bad. It's dropping to like 29 frames per second. Really bad audio stutter, totally unplayable. Then onto the Open GL core. Again, really bad audio stutter. It's dropping down to like 38, 39 frames per second. It's slightly better than the Vulcan core, but again, totally unplayable. You won't play that at all. again, onto the better one, the DirectX 11. It's best by far. It's really playable. You're getting the odd dip on it, which is massively notable while you're playing. Really decent play. You do notice a little bit of tiny bit of slowdown while you're playing, but it's the best core by a long shot. And moving on to Gun, which again is one of the most demanding games on the GameCube. Going to Vulcan. And on this you get like there's some really big lag spikes, it's really big drops in speed. You're mostly in the RX550s. It's playable, but it ain't perfect. It's not great. There you see a big spike there.
Elk bit. I can smell him. There he is. Come on. Got him.
Moving on to OpenGL. Again, this is the worst one out of the lot. It's dropping into like the 40s, really big lag spikes again. Totally unplayable. Well, it's basically unplayable. I won't play that at that sort of speed. What's going on?
Got him.
Then onto the DirectX 11 core. Absolutely perfect. Again, it's best core by a million miles. No drops, no audio stutter. You get a little tiny spike on the video, I believe, which is here. But besides that, it's million times better than any of them. It's perfectly playable. The best experience you're going to get is on DirectX 11. Moving on to Metroid Prime, again, really big lag spikes on this. It's playing fine really, and then it has a really big spike. It really drops, but as you can see, I believe when you start aiming the gun again, it'll spike. It's just dropping all the time. It's really not playable, to be fair. This is OpenGL, I believe now, and not as bad as Vulcan, but again, really big lag spikes in here. It's not particularly playable, not a really good experience. And on to DirectX 11 again, absolutely perfect. There's no spikes, there's no drops, there's no audio stutter. Absolutely, by far, the best core. Again, DirectX 11. Moving on to Need for Speed Underground. Now we notice that the frames per second are absolutely all over the place on this, but you'll get the odd lag spike on it as well, and but it tends to play right. But like that, what I found with Need for Speed Underground, even on a really high-end system, is I believe the frame per second counts as broke because it's up and down all over the place. On my computer, even though it runs absolutely perfect, you can tell it's running full speed. There's no slowdown, no lag, there's nothing on it. But the frame per second is going up and down to 20 frames per second, and you definitely notice it. So I believe there's an issue with that. Again, onto the OpenGL one now. You get some lag spikes again. Frames per second all over the place again. Pretty much, there's quite a bit of slowdown there. You notice quite a bit of slowdown, throughout playing it on this one. It's one of the really demanding games that you find on the GameCube. So then we move on to DirectX 11 again. Again, the best call by far. You're still getting little bits of slowdown on it. The frame per second's all over the place, like I just mentioned. But there's no sort of really big drops. It's the best experience. It's not a perfect experience, but it's the best by far. So all these games that I'm testing here are pretty much the ones that you want to test. You test all these and get them set up on all these so they're all running fine. Then you're pretty much going to run every GameCube game perfectly. So again, Super Mario Sunshine, this is another PAL version or whatever, it's 30 frames a second. I don't know whether it was all the versions were 30 frames a second, but Vulcan front end, it's pretty much flawless. There's no real dips in it, it's really playable on all the courses, but yeah, Vulcan's pretty much playable, absolutely the same. And moving on to the OpenGL core. This one absolutely perfect, bar one like big drop in speed, like a big spike, and then for the rest of it, it played perfect. It was just like one drop. So again, if you're playing the game for a couple hours and it just does that every now and then, you're not bothered about that, to be fair. And then moving on to the DirectX 11 core again, the best one again. It's not, they all run pretty much sound, but this runs absolutely perfect. There's no stutter, no spikes, no nothing. It's really good. And as you can see by playing all the games up to yet, the DirectX 11 is the core to go for the GameCube. It's the one. It's by far the better one. So moving on to F-Zero, which is really weird. You get a lot of slowdown on F-Zero in the menus, and then you'll start playing and it seems to play sounds. But with the Vulcan core, which just is at the start, you're getting some drops, you're getting some big spikes on it, but then mostly in between that is playing full speed. It's pretty much a decent experience. It's not too bad. Moving on to OpenGL, again in the menus, it's on them all, the real bad slowdown. You think it's not going to run very good, but then you start playing it, it's sound. But this had a fair few bad spikes in it, and drops, but it's still pretty playable. It's not the worst experience you're gonna have, but probably it was the OpenGL core, which was the worst one out of the three, to be fair. Then again, DirectX 11. It's pretty much flawless on this. Best by far again. It's the one to go with for me. Still, even on the DirectX 11, you get a load of the slowdown on the menus, but while you're playing it, as you can see, it's the best experience. It's really good, really playable. So then, after that, I thought I'd have a quick look at a couple of games, see if they'd run in 4K, just to see what sort of thing we'd get. So, first of all, this is 1080, the snowboarding game, running in 4K. There's a few spikes there, but I was absolutely gobsmacked a bit further that it loaded in 4K. It's probably not showing because I'm only recording at 1080p, but it weren't too bad. It was I was surprised that it did what it was, played how it did. And these are all on DirectX 11 core. Again, S0 as you can see there with all the menus out, slow down as you can hear, really bad audio stutter. This is on 4K on the DirectX 11, and then when you start playing it, it's pretty much really playable, to be fair. Run a lot better than I was expecting at 4K. Like I say, this graphics card cost me £90, so. But it shows you this is running really well, saying it's on 4K. Everybody thinks this is the most demanding game, and then we'll go to gun. And as you can see at 4K, it's running at less than half speed. So then what I tried to do with gun in this case was, I tried to drop it down to the 1440 setting. And again, as you can see, it's not playable. It's like sort of late 40s, 50 frames per second. So yeah, as you can see, the DirectX 11 core is the best by far. It tends to run every game faster and better. That's not saying that on a more powerful computer that the other cores, you know, might be better. I don't know. This is just testing on this computer, which is a Dell Optiplex 3060. It's got an i5 8500, 6 cores, 3 GHz, and it's got 8 GB of RAM in it, and it's using an RX550 graphics card. Now, if you've got a full-on gaming PC, you probably click all them cores and they'll all run fine. I'm not 100%. It's not something that I've really tried. But for the lower end system, which basically I did the tests on, obviously the DirectX 11 cores, the one to go with for me. I'll be doing another video shortly, probably this weekend, on this graphics card to show you what I found with it. There's some pretty surprising consoles that ran on it, to be fair, that I weren't expecting to run on it. I wasn't even expecting to load. They're game playable, but pretty much all your PlayStation 2, your Gamecube, your Wii, your Wii U all run really well on it. And like I said, I paid 90 quid for it from America. So if you've got an old Dell Optiplex, it's a small form factor card. They're a bargain if you can find one at the right price. I mean, I've looked again after I tested it, and they're going for like 140, 150 quid for what I found. But graphics cards go up and down every week. You see them at different prices, so. But it's just one of them cards that I'd highly recommend. And that'll be my next video that's coming shortly. Don't forget, if you like the video, if it's give you a few tips, just help, if you don't mind helping the channel grow, if you can subscribe. Also, if you want a chance of winning the 4TB drive, check the Wii video that I'll leave the link in. Like I say, there's only 4 people up to yet who's entered, so you're in a massively good chance of winning it. I'm drawing it on the 1st of April. Thanks for watching.